Hi there, welcome back. Welcome to the last in the series of the restoration of the Braun SK22. I promised that the last video would be a look at the cabinet completion, and we'll then do a final test at the end, so if you want to see that, hang around. Well, the actual cabinet is a plastic or some form of plastic, and the paint on there was quite easy to remove, a bit of paint stripper and quite a bit of elbow grease. I then sprayed it with a grey spray paint, which I chose to match the original color. And this thing took quite a few coats, a bit of light sanding with water sandpaper in between just to get any imperfections off there. And the final result came out perfectly. The finish is very smooth and uniform. There are no bubbles, no imperfections, and everything is pretty uniform. It looks really, really nice, really original. Almost, well, it does look like a totally professional finish. The front plate needed a little bit of cleaning, nothing special, but I did cover the dial itself and touched it up with a bit of white spray paint, which gave it that really fresh finish. And the back cover, well, that needed a little bit more attention. There was a little bit of staining which had to be cleaned out, but it cleaned out quite well. And then of course we had that chipped top corner, which is very common with these radios. I fixed that up with actually the super glue and bicarbonate of soda trick, which means that it filled in, and then I sanded it out and created the hole and so on, and then touched up with a bit of white paint. The touch-up is not perfect, but it's going to get there. Now, the inside had a tube layout, which was really sort of coming off, so I stuck that in. It's always nice to have all the original parts on there. And then, of course, there's the actual dial and the pointer, which needed a little bit of cleaning. And last but not least, the screws. These screws were original, so they were polished and properly presented to go back on the chassis. Then all that remains is to start fitting everything together, get the cabinet ready, put everything in place, and then slide in the radio itself and screw in the back. It slides in very easily and fits very well. Faceplate goes on there, rather the dial goes on there, and then of course the two knobs that I bought from a supplier in Germany. And we're left with the final result. And what a result it is. We have our Braun SK22 or 2-2 looking as original as when it left the factory, and probably cleaner. This thing was fortunately blessed with an intact chassis, with the exception of that top right hand corner that had the chip, but I'm happy with that. It came out clean, intact, and with all the writing and labeling still visible. I didn't have to worry about that. The backplate has a little bit of tonal difference, as does the repair on the top right hand corner, but that should be easy enough to repair. I'm really happy with this. And now we come to the most interesting part, which is actually testing it. So I've powered it up. I've connected the dipole FM antenna at the back, and let's go for it. The rotation is perfectly smooth. It's slightly pulled away from the faceplate so it doesn't scratch. That little light down there, or that there's a little perspex, I believe, light channel down there which shows the light through. It's the only indication you have that this is actually on. So let's see what we get. This is FM in the evening.
Final da época, com o português Pedro Figueiredo a assegurar a manutenção no principal circuito europeu de profissionais de golfe.
Fundo é uma segunda oportunidade. Este ano foi o meu primeiro ano no European Tour e não.
you can actually tune very, very fine because of the diameter of the dial.
Uma atençãozinha seria sempre bem-vinda.
Não, o presidente falou bem, não é?
Talk radio, that's what we need for YouTube demos. Now I've got the tone control at the back, which I can adjust.
Abrir a segunda época no Vizela, depois de passagens por Vila Verdense, Gil Vicente, Famalicão e Marítimo B, André Soares olha para trás e sente que teve a sua oportunidade de fazer carreira a outro nível. Acredita, André Soares, no entanto...
Personally, I like the FM with quite a bit of treble.
Mais fácil conseguir esse desiderato.
Eu também tive
There we have it. I get the usual channels over here. There's about 3 of them, 4 of them that I receive quite well at this end of the island. And I'm getting them.
Consulte o programa em lefest.com.
Festival Antena 1.
Chega de quanto mais me bates, mais gosto de ti. Vamos meter o nariz onde somos chamados e a colher entre marido e mulher, antes que a morte os separe.
Há ditados que têm de deixar de ser.
Well, that's EFM for you. It's as good or better than most of the ones I've tested at home here. The quality of sound from this little thing is quite amazing. The speaker is a pretty good speaker. The actual casing is probably just perfect for the size of speaker we have here, so it resonates quite well. And the sound is generally very, very pleasant. Time to try the AM. For the AM, I'm using the mini whip, and what I'm doing is connecting the signal line to one of the antenna inputs, and I connect the ground of the mini whip to the ground down here. I've determined that's the best way to improve the reception. And for AM, click left, wait for it to warm up. Let's see what we get. This will be North Africa somewhere.
Hola.
Hola.
¿Ya pues? Sí, eres Alex. Alex Vaca. Quiero hablar contigo.
Bueno, pues ya sabes y cómo le íbamos a ver, pero la verdad es que ha sido sorprendente. O sea, yo... Una pregunta.
La energía va tanto, va a escucharos en directo.
¿Y lo escuchas de verdad?
This is unbelievable. This is Canary Islands. I'm getting it like it's next door.
La hacen los niños, las divulgadoras que van al programa.
De la casa, luego cuando ha salido ya hemos hecho las cámaras y hemos hecho la salida, bueno, los 4 vestidos, los slams y ellos llevan muchos años de organización.
Ay, es que tengo mucha debilidad por usted. Pero parece que un poquito...
¿Pero por qué? Pero que le damos un punto doble, ¿no, Alfredo?
Nadie lo conoce.
Aquí no lo dices.
FM, plus de musique, plus de
And there we have it. The test is done. And in summary, I've got to say I am incredibly impressed with this little radio. If anything, the only thing missing here is a proper gramophone input. In other words, another input here so that I could use the Bluetooth conversion. I don't know whether I'm going to make some sort of adjustment. I've actually thought of using that input at the back. It's actually an output that I showed you. And disconnecting, for example, the AM signal coming on there with a switch at the back. But this thing's come out so perfectly that I'm loath to change it in any way. Even something as simple as the tone of the grey that I got on here. I had no intention of doing this. I chose a grey that I liked. And I found that this thing matches perfectly with the dial color. So this thing is so original. It looks like it came out of the factory last week. So I'm probably going to leave it exactly as it is now. And perhaps get the bigger brother or the older brother, newer brother, the SK25, which comes with a gramophone input, I believe. I need to check that. But all in all, this thing has once again shown me that my passion for Braun and Dieter Ram designs is well placed. I love these little sets. I'm going to do more, I'm sure. I hope that the future ones come out as well as this one. So I want to thank you all for sticking with me through this whole series. Hope you've enjoyed it. Hope you've learned something. I certainly have, as usual. And if you've enjoyed it, please subscribe, click like, share, and all that jazz. And if you wish to, you can support the channel on Patreon, and the link is at the end of the video. Thanks for watching, and see you back soon for the next project. Bye for now.